Alan Newcastle sits alone watching YouTube videos on his computer when suddenly he hears an all too familiar cry for help.
There is no expectation of privacy in public.
There's no need to fear. Hezokai is here. Hello, I'm Hezekiah Jenkins, author of the Frauditor's Handbook. Link will be in the description below. And I'm Alan Newcastle, contributor to the Frauditor Destroyer YouTube channel. And today we're once again looking at the 4 most viewed Frauditor videos of the week as of the time of this recording. Our first video today comes from We the People University and is called Cop Gets Owned by His Corporal and the Citizen This Man Meant Business, What Happened? I love the names these guys come up with. It's the story of an innocent, empathetic, independent journalist called Mass Accountability, who was simply protecting our rights, holding government agencies accountable, and creating government transparency by auditing a private business. When suddenly, he's accosted by horrible, evil, vicious, out-of-control, tyrannical cops. In this clip, he's approached by security, and as all frauditors do, purposely is evasive to questioning and in order to arouse suspicion.
Get a van coming the other way. Excuse me? No, I didn't ask for help.
What's that?
I didn't ask for help. Are you a sheriff or something? Security? There we go.
As you can see, that clip was quite short. That wasn't our edit, that was his. Makes me wonder what he was trying to hide. Anyway, pretty soon the police arrive, and then we get to the desired interaction.
Hey, sir.
Hi.
Corporal McGilver, LA County Sheriff's Office. How are you today?
Good. What was the last name?
Corporal McGilver,
McGilver.
LA County Sheriff's Office.
Do you have a badge number?
It is 4015.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep. Just curious, do you need anything, or is there any problems?
No, he came out and asked me. I asked him a question, and then he turned around and called you guys.
Okay.
So.
Are you on your way out then, or?
I'm going to be here as long as I need to be. Can I get your name and badge, please?
Sure.
Name and badge, then?
My name's right here.
I don't know how. Oh, your name's right here? Hi, officer, right here.
Pictures. How you doing, brother?
Officer, right here.
You have any identification on you?
I don't answer questions, sir.
Okay. Well, we need to find out who you
No,
are.
you absolutely don't. I'm on public property taking pictures.
Right.
So you have no right to know who I am.
It's
Suspicion is not a crime.
You can't.
Suspicion is not a crime.
You're out in front of
Suspicion is not a crime, sir.
Taking pictures?
Hey, you go talk to the 2 Stripes over there. He didn't have a problem with it, so
He's not done with you.
you should watch your mouth, okay?
Sir, I don't know who you are.
You don't need to know who I am. You don't need to know who I am.
I'm not
And
being
you need
rude.
to stop lying to me. Yeah, you are being rude because you're lying to me.
Well, just hang tight.
Nah,
Because you can't
am I
go
being
anywhere.
detained?
Yes, you are.
I'm being detained?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
For what? What crime?
You are being
Reasonable articulate suspicion of what
Sir,
crime?
don't talk to me.
Of what crime? Of what crime?
know it all.
I know it all, sir. I know the laws.
Detained, so hang tight.
Sir, why am I being detained?
And if you keep walking away,
I'm going to the other officer, sir.
you don't need to walk towards him.
Sir,
Good to you.
why am I being detained?
You're not being detained, so you're free.
Ha, boom, ha.
Wanna go now?
There you go. Ha, ha.
You're detained.
Do I not know my laws or what? Yeah.
Okay, take care,
keep
sir.
it moving. You're dismissed.
away.
You're dismissed. How do you say your name, Mr. Right here?
Out here on the public.
Can you have him pronounce his name for me? Because I don't know how to pronounce that.
Out here, just
yeah.
yeah.
Taping all down.
Could you,
What he's doing now.
sir, could you have him pronounce his name for me? Because I don't know how to pronounce that.
My name.
Sir,
got
could
a
you
picture
please
of
have
it.
him?
You're good to go.
Could you have him pronounce that for me?
Sir, it is whatever it is.
Sir,
However you would,
he told me his name was right here, and that's not how you spell right here.
however you would say his name.
Dickhead?
Okay. Alrighty. You have anything else you need from us?
Absolutely not.
Spectator, have a wonderful
I need
day.
to point out these tyrants. That's exactly what I need to do.
Have a good day, sir.
Yeah, yourself. Him? I was very cordial with and polite. You're a prick.
Finally, the police leave the scene, and Mass Accountability gives them a friendly farewell.
He's waving. That's what they get. The tyrants get the finger.
I find this video to be a shining example of how frauditors waste government resources and relentlessly bait the cops. Alan? It really is. Let's face it, if your goal is to test or audit the police, then the only reason you could possibly have for auditing a private business is to get them to call the police, to test how the police react. Yeah, so now we have this idiot wasting police resources and arguing about names and badge numbers when they could be missing an important call. But because douche accountability, wants to be a douche, now we have cops have to waste their time on him. Exactly. This guy's trying to make it sound like the cop not saying his name out loud is some form of tyranny. That's completely insane. The guy was clearly zooming in on his name. So obviously the officer wasn't trying to hide it. Anyway, the video was awful. Short, stupid, pointless. Thumbs down. I have to agree. There's nothing to see here. I only think that this video got so many views because the cops are right here. For some reason, the frauditors seem to think that that's some sort of civil rights violation. I think maybe they've been smoking paint. Thumbs down. Our next video is from Long Island Audits, who is one of the 2 frauditors to make our list 2 weeks in a row. This time the video is called Tyrant, Lieutenant, and Sergeant Try to Threaten Journalist Who Knows His Rights. Ignorance of the Law is No Excuse. You were right about these titles being stupid. It's the story of an independent journalist working on a story about license plates when a couple of vicious, bloodthirsty tyrants try to intimidate the poor, innocent man into providing an ID. In this first clip, Long Island Audit enters City Hall and is greeted with a smile.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty well. I'm looking to do an open records request for the city.
Do what?
An open records request for public information.
Public record.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna go down this hallway here, down the steps, second door on the right. It's the city clerk.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. We have the tribute hall here. Our friendly reminder that they're always recording us, even though it always seems to be a problem when we record them.
Hello.
Hi ma'am, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? How can I help you today?
I'm here to do a public records request.
Okay. Need a clipboard?
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want to see me? Can.
Just want to get some cards too.
That's fine. This is me. And this is the boss. This is the city clerk. And then the others are just
Okay.
whoever is in everybody else's.
Thanks, Ashley.
You're welcome. Let me know if you have any questions on the application. Just try to be specific as possible, okay?
Okay, great.
After a few more minutes speaking with the nice lady, finding that he was not going to get the negative reaction he was searching for, he decides to go and audit the license plates of the cars in the police station parking lot.
What's going on, man?
Hey, how are you? Good.
Lieutenant Coke, Southland Police Department. What we can help you with?
No.
No?
Your name is Sergeant?
I'm Lieutenant Coke with the Southland Police Department.
And your name, Sergeant?
Jackie.
Thank you.
I just got a call saying you're kind of walking around, like taking photos of people's tags and in their cars and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was
Is there a
doing.
reason for that?
Yeah, I'm a journalist. I was just gathering content for a story. I'm taking pictures of like the different license plates and stuff.
So, taking personal license plates and government tags, or
Well, I don't know what's the difference between personal and government. Some
one
of them
says
say,
government and one doesn't?
well, one of them over here says law enforcement on it, so I don't know. You know what I
Are
mean?
you from Mississippi, or
Oh, I'm not from the area. No,
where are you from?
I don't want to answer that. Don't want to answer that. Yeah,
Who do you work for? We're journalists.
I'm independent, meaning that I work for myself. That's
Do you have
correct.
an ID on you?
No, I don't have any ID on me. No,
You don't have any type of form of identification or
No,
anything? Something
no.
with your picture on it?
no.
Nothing at all?
No.
Do you have an ID out of the state?
What does it matter if I have an ID?
Because it's policy for us when we get out and speak with somebody, we identify who they are, so that way we can add it to our CAD notes, so that way if something happens or if somebody wants to file a complaint or whatever, it makes it easier for our bosses to know who we got out and spoke with.
Yeah, Lieutenant, I do have an ID.
Okay.
I don't have it on me, and I don't make it a habit. It's my policy not to identify myself.
Okay. So you're not
Unless
gonna give me your name, date of birth, if I ask for it?
unless I committed a crime, no. Or
Well, it's
you
not necessarily you
suspect
committed
me.
a crime. Again, it's when we make contact with the public.
Mm-hmm.
We usually, well, I say usually, we always we always get a name, date of birth, some sort of identification for them, whether it be via a citation if they've made a traffic stop, or they called us out there, or we get a call from, say, City Hall.
Yeah.
Says, hey, somebody's walking around out here looking suspicious, taking photos of people's cars, of their license plates, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and I understand your policy completely.
Right. So that policy is, I'm going to ask you for your identification. So
yeah.
if you don't have it on you, I need to get your name, date of birth then.
My policy is I don't identify myself unless you
then I'm going to ask
suspected
you to
me.
stop recording. I'm going to ask you to leave, and if you refuse to do that, then we'll take it up from the stuff from here. And
Why
then we'll
why would you stop me from recording?
Because there's no need for you to be out here. Then you're on.
So
because so
you're saying because I won't
I'm asking you to leave. Is what I'm asking you.
because I won't identify myself to you. You're saying that I cannot engage in my constitutionally protected activity. That's what you're saying.
Well, no, I'm asking you to leave. Is what I'm asking you.
But I have every right to be here. No.
Well, I have every right to ask you for your ID, but you don't want to give me that. So it's tit for tat.
But it's not a tit for tat.
Okay.
That's not very professional of you.
What was your name?
That's not very professional, sir.
What was your name?
Sir, I told you my policy is I don't.
Okay, where's your name?
Sir, I don't give my ID unless you
Have
suspect me of committing a crime, sir.
All right, you can have a good day.
As you saw there, the officer tried to disengage, but Long Island Audit had to have a confrontation to make his video interesting, so he kept trying to argue and bait the cops. In this next clip, Long Island Audit accuses the cops of trying to violate his rights, then does the walk of shame while narrating some crazy story about tyranny, unlawful demands, and intimidation tactics to his audience.
You guys run plates all day. Anybody who's
And we
parked
have
in
the right to do that.
If I'm in Walmart, if I'm in Walmart and I'm going inside of
Okay.
Walmart, I can see the plates from anywhere I can. Sir, I think you're being unreasonable.
I'm not.
You
I'm
are.
being very reasonable. I'm being very reasonable.
What you're trying to do is violate my constitutional rights, and I'm not going to let that happen here today.
There's no violation going here.
Okay,
And
great.
I'd like to know what you got a card so I can see what website you're going to post this to so I can watch it later.
No, you'll find it. I guarantee you. You'll be very much aware of
Okay.
where it's being posted to. Okay.
Okay. All right. Have a good day.
You guys can have a great day now.
Thanks.
Thank you. You took an oath to uphold the Constitution. You should take that seriously. I'm one of those guys. One of those guys who knows the law. Do you see how they try and make it seem? How they try and make it seem that they can demand ID whenever they want. And to somebody who doesn't know their rights, and this is exactly why I make these kinds of videos, for somebody who doesn't know their rights, they would have, honestly, been intimidated by the lieutenant and the sergeant here, and they would have handed over their identification because it's a lawful order. Wrong. It's not a lawful order. Shame on them. They were both tyrants, ignorant of the law. Not only did they have this false perception that if I do not give over my driver's license or my name and date of birth, that they can restrict a constitutionally protected activity. Completely ridiculous. Completely. How can you restrict a constitutionally protected activity just because I didn't bow to your needs? I only give over my name and date of birth or my driver's license if they suspect me of committing a crime. And they did not suspect me of committing any crime. They tried to say that it was suspicious. We all know suspicion is not a crime. They said I was looking inside of personal vehicles. Isn't that what they do for a living? Isn't that what they do all day?
So you see, once again, the frauditor has an interaction with the police where the police literally do nothing except for ask a few questions, and somehow that's considered tyranny. It truly boggles my mind how many words these guys use that they clearly have no idea what they mean. Look, if those cops were tyrants, why did Long Island Audit get away with not presenting ID? A tyrant would have forced him to ID. How did Long Island Audit film that ending bit? If they were tyrants, they would have forced him to stop filming. Long Island Audit is clearly an idiot who tries to talk smart but has no idea what he's talking about. I also noticed that his ignorance really shines through even in his own false narrative building. When he was lying to the cops about filming license plates for a documentary, about license plates. And the cop asked him a question about license plates. He didn't know the difference between different kinds of plates. All right, I'm not sure I follow your logic there, but I did notice that he tried to save the video twice. Once by going directly to the police department parking lot and trying to paint it, and then trying to paint a picture of the cops, having done all these terrible things to him, when in reality they did literally nothing. Just grasping at straws at that point. It's thumbs down. Thumbs down. He said the cops were being unprofessional, but he's supposed to be some kind of professional journalist. You would think that a professional journalist who's working on a documentary about people's license plates would have done some sort of research on the different types of plates. Anyway, this video is lame. He didn't get the cops called him at the city like he wanted to, so he went directly to the police station to guarantee a police interaction. Thumbs down. Next is the second video on our list from a creator who made last week's list, Lackluster. This video is called Rude Deputies Go Hands-On, Lawsuit Incoming. It's the story of auditing Erie County having his Fourth Amendment protection from unreasonable search and seizure violated. And then he's viciously assaulted and battered by a frail old lady. In this clip, he just signed the sign-in sheet as Dan Erie County when he's approached by an officer who noticed that it was an obviously fake name.
Mayor, let me see some ID.
No, thank you, sir.
Your last name's Erie County?
That's what I signed in as. I'm Erie County.
Your name, or you can leave.
No, thank you, sir.
Yes, that's the rule.
There's a violation of the Fourth Amendment to violate the Fourth Amendment.
You have to sign in. You have to use your
I did
name.
sign in.
Your last name is not Erie County. And show me your ID.
I'm here working as Erie County.
If your last name is Erie County, then you could stay. Come on, let's go.
I'm not leaving this. That's ridiculous. It would be a Fourth Amendment violation to ID me to come into a public building.
We'll go see my sheriff because that's his rules. So let's go. We got to go to the sheriff's office.
Tell him to come down here.
You're coming with me.
What did I do
You're
wrong?
coming with me.
Why am I coming with you?
Because I asked you to sign in. You didn't sign in.
I did sign in.
Your name is not Dan Erie County.
Sure it is. I'm here as Dan Erie County.
You
can't prove that I'm not. You can't prove that I'm not.
Then let me see your ID.
You have no right to get my ID. You don't have a crime. You can't demand ID unless somebody commits a crime in this country. That's a Fourth Amendment violation.
I can ask you for your ID.
Oh, well, thanks for asking. No, thank you, though.
No, you're leaving.
I'm not leaving.
You're leaving.
Are you a sheriff?
Yes, I am.
Or are you a security working here?
I'm a sheriff.
What's your badge number?
Come on.
Is your camera on?
It is not. Let's go.
You turn your camera on.
Come on, let's go.
Go where?
I don't know.
Where are we going?
He said, let's
Just
go.
because he said something, he doesn't have a lawful order of any sort to give me a lawful command at all.
You're not allowed in the building.
I'm allowed in the building.
I need him to sign his real name.
I did sign in the building.
Erie County. Come on, let's go.
I'm here as Dan Erie County.
I'm
not leaving. Get a supervisor down here. You don't get to get somebody's ID unless they commit a crime. You can't just demand ID.
I'm asking for your ID.
Well,
I'm
respectfully, I'm going to decline giving you ID because I have not committed a crime. I don't have to leave. This is public property.
You got to leave.
This is public property. I'm not leaving.
You got to leave.
After a few more minutes of arguing with the officers about asking for ID being a violation of his Fourth Amendment rights, Lackluster breaks in to reinforce his claim with various false equivalencies.
Aside from instances of police brutality and misconduct of sworn officers, one of the biggest issues with law enforcement in the United States is their lack of education regarding the constitutional limitations of their authority. The main question here is, can the government require you to forfeit your Fourth Amendment rights when seeking public services? Currently, there is no law requiring one to identify themselves when entering a public space. They can certainly ask, but refusing service because you say no is a clear violation of your rights. In the Supreme Court case of Katz v. United States, the courts found that what a person knowingly exposes to the public, even in his home or office, is not a subject of Fourth Amendment protections. But what he seeks to preserve as private, even in an area accessible to the public, may be constitutionally protected. Furthermore, it would be unreasonable to demand ID to enjoy the services you've been forced to pay for, simply because not everyone has an ID. Creating a law that requires you to show your papers to enter would be unconstitutional. But instead of protecting Dan's rights and welcoming him into his building, the deputies try to physically push him out. knowing that they're above the law.
We don't have time to do what you're doing. Let's
No,
go.
I'm not doing anything.
Let's
Do
go.
not
Let's
touch
go.
me. Do not touch me.
Let's go.
I'm not going anywhere till you get a supervisor down here. Get your hands off me, man.
No, let's
Get
go.
your cameras on. Get
Let's
your
go.
cameras on. I'm a free citizen. You don't have a right to do this.
Let's go.
You're gonna regret this.
Good.
Yep. That was it. That was the scene that made this video so popular. That was the big, brutal assault and battery. Erie County then spends the next 15 minutes arguing in circular logic, double talk, false equivalencies, and non sequiturs, until the sheriff arrives.
How are you, sir? You're the sheriff of the county? I am. This deputy and that deputy is violating my civil rights. They also put their hands on me and assaulted me or battered me unlawfully because they do not have a lawful command to tell me to turn my camera off in this public space. Are you refusing me service, Sheriff?
The door is locked.
The door is locked because they just locked it because of the camera. Straight up. You are violating the First Amendment rights and refusing service down here. That's all I want to know. You say yes?
Why don't we get a hold of the clerk's office and see if they want to see you?
Do the clerks have a choice who they get to see and don't get to see?
So
when did that law come into effect?
They're down there talking to her right now.
I understand, but why is this door locked, Sheriff?
It's locked.
Why?
And after a few more minutes of arguing and another reinforcing of the false narrative by Lackluster, the clerk shows up to help fulfill his request.
I'm the legislative board clerk for the county.
All right, do you understand my constitutional right to be in that office right now and be able to video record in that office?
But, sir, you have to not be so aggressive about
aggressive. These people put their hands on me. I was just simply was I aggressive? Was I aggressive at all? This is aggressive. This is aggressive.
It is kind of aggressive.
What are you, thin-skinned or something? This isn't aggressive. This isn't aggressive at all.
No.
This isn't me yelling.
Sign in. Come on.
Go sign in.
Get your hands off me. What is wrong with you guys?
You're in my space.
I'm in your space?
I'm going to go back.
This is your public space?
To an office.
This is your public space?
It's everybody's.
Exactly. So I have every right to be down in this office, and you know it. Now let me in.
You were given.
Why are you putting your hands on me?
What you need.
You keep shoving on me.
There you go. For your
You're a
request
captain.
by
What is your
email or
badge
mail.
number?
So after requesting the obligatory badge number, he continues to insult and argue with the police. In the next clip, he threatens to have his fans call flood the police department.
You're going to see it. It's going to get emailed to you. You're going to get phone calls about it. The phones down here, they're going to be ringing for days for this ignorance. This is you know what? I just met the sheriff. I just met the sheriff. And you know what they say, shit rolls downhill, and we can prove it right here, guys. We got a captain, shit captain. We got a shit deputy and a shit sheriff. Trying to ID people, and he thinks it's not a Fourth Amendment violation to ID people without a crime.
No one said crime, but the rule is you sign in.
I did sign in. I abided by your rules. I signed in.
Put a first name.
I put a first name and a company name.
And in this final clip, Erie County finally signs in properly. He says to prove that they just want him to stop filming. But as it turns out, everything after that goes fine. No problems. No one tries to tell him not to film, but Lackluster still pushes the narrative that Erie County was battered.
After being denied service for almost a half an hour, Dan writes down his last name and the deputies allow him into the clerk's office.
Baby, that's my last name. You guys got it now.
What's your last name?
Warmus, baby.
What?
Dan Warmus. Out of the way. Pig.
You will take care of your business.
I'm gonna video record pigs for a while.
There are farms out here.
Hey, no kidding. I got a whole farm in here.
Once inside, he films the clerk's and records office and has a polite conversation with the staff. He then films the county chambers and other areas of the hall and is finally given the county budget to inspect. He then travels to the sheriff's office to request the body cam footage and retrieve complaint forms. As of this point, there has been no update as far as to whether the deputies have faced any repercussions for battering Dan.
This whole video almost made me sick to my stomach. Yeah, it's easy to say the cops may have overreacted, but we're supposed to trust Erie County, who we know for a fact was one of the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th? How are we supposed to give him the benefit of the doubt? He and Lackluster just keep insisting that he was being forced to ID to enter the building. That's not at all what happened. They asked for ID because he used an obviously fake name. Oh, well, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to give this one a thumbs up. Wow, And just as I thought we were going to go a whole video without me calling you an idiot. Whatever. I really think you're missing the point, man. The whole purpose of a fraudit is to bait the cops into a negative reaction, right? So between his actions and Lackluster's commentary, they built a perfect picture of the police taking the bait. Mwah. Lackluster's commentary, give me a break. Look, at one point he actually quotes a Supreme Court decision, right? And he says, and I quote, "What he seeks to preserve as private, even in an area accessible to the public, may be constitutionally protected." But I thought there was no expectation of privacy in public. He shoots down the entire Frauditor argument right there. And then this whole Fourth Amendment argument drives me nuts. The Fourth Amendment talks about unreasonable, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's say that Dan Erie County really is a legitimately registered business name. Cool. So does he take 1 second to tell the dude behind the counter, "That's my business name, I'm just signing in under my business"? No. Why? Well, he would say because he shouldn't have to. But the fact of the matter is, any reasonable person would be suspicious of someone signing in with a fake name. I mean, look, there are only two possibilities. Either Erie County is too stupid to understand that doing that and not explaining why would arouse suspicion, which I wouldn't be very surprised, or he did it to cause suspicion for content. But when you're watching these videos, you have to take into consideration the audience that they were made for. Their fans are only going to apply that idea to Erie County's right to keep his name private. It's a perfect video for his audience. And what about the claim that they tried to stop him from filming? That never happened. And what about this? You say this video is a thumbs up because it's perfect? Look at this spelling error. If instead of. And I know that happens. In fact, I noticed that I have a similar mistake in my book. Shameless plug. But look at the text. He's ripping into this cop for being dumb, but he can't double check the spelling of one sentence. At least my mistake is buried in a multi-page text. And then calling the cops thin-skinned while crying about being assaulted because he was touched a tiny little bit. Come on. What the hell are you talking about? Everything you're saying, from the false narrative building, the spelling errors, the snowflake reaction to minor contact, are all hallmarks of a great frauded video. I reiterate, thumbs up. You know what the worst thing about all of this is? I actually did some research on this video, and in the end, thanks to Erie County's fans' incessant call flooding, they actually removed the sign-in sheet from that facility. That's a Frauditor win in my book, and that fact alone is enough for me to give this video a thumbs down. Thumbs down. Oh, well, I thought you were here to review the video itself. What I see is a great example of frauditing at its best. Our final video is from Audit the Audit, and it's called Cops Defend Citizen from False 911 Caller. It's a story of a frauditor called Slow County Observer, once again somehow protecting us from evil government by auditing a private business, when the business itself legitimately takes the situation too far.
You're obviously being obnoxious to me by not giving me answers.
I'm actually being pretty polite.
Well,
you're the one yelling at me.
Okay. Well, I want you to explain what your presence and why you're videotaping my yard.
No, I'm not going to tell you anything.
Okay. All right.
This guy with you?
Fucking A, he is.
That was the initial interaction with the business, which planted the seeds for what comes later. In this next clip, we actually hear the audio of one of the many 911 calls made by the company employees and see Slow County's initial interaction with the police.
Emergency, how may I help you? Yes, you guys need to send a police officer or more than one. There's a gentleman out in our yard with a gun, I believe.
What's the address?
656 Wool Creek.
Is that a house or an apartment?
It's in a business.
And the name of the business?
Peninsula Crane.
And he has a gun where?
It looks like he has a gun.
Where?
And I'm telling you what, if you guys don't come in the next 5 minutes, I'm calling all the TV stations.
Ma'am,
What?
A gun where?
What? In his bag.
Okay, one moment.
Hurry up.
Okay.
All right, so I just called the police. This guy was called twice about 20 minutes ago.
Hi, sir. Can I help you?
Yeah, that guy right there broke my camera off my stand right here and threw it in the bushes over there.
Okay. We got to call someone with a gun?
No.
You don't have a gun?
I don't have a gun.
Okay. You're free to record me. I don't care. I'm recording you. Okay. So we did a good report of you, male with sunglasses, mask, bag with a gun. Okay. So you can record me. You can leave that there. I just gotta make sure I'm safe.
All right,
okay?
go for it, man.
So
I don't have any.
Okay. I'm just gonna take your bag off. Okay.
I can.
Yeah. Take it off,
well,
please.
it's got a body.
Okay. That's fine. Like I said, I'm just trying to be safe. Okay. That way we can deal with this appropriately. Okay. So just relax. You're gonna have to put the tripod. Leave it. I'm gonna pat search you for weapons. There's a report. No, I'm gonna pat search you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I don't have any gun.
Okay. Well, I just got to make sure. We're obviously, they might have exaggerated, but that's what we're here to figure out. Well, that's what it sounds like. So, just separate your legs for me, please. All right. I'm just going to hold on to your bag real quick. I'm not taking it. Here.
Can I get my body cam?
Yeah. Go ahead and give me this body cam. Sounds like 51 Charles 4. You can shut down any incoming code 3. Go back to normal. This sounds like some kind of civil issue. So what happened?
I was recording from the sidewalk up there. Okay. This guy didn't like it, so we just grabbed my camera and threw it in the bushes.
Did you know them or what's going on?
No, I don't know them at all. I was just checking out their cranes. They have like cranes and stuff.
Oh, you don't know them at all? You're just recording?
I don't know them at all.
Okay.
I'm just a random dude.
Okay. Well, they called in a guy with a gun, so you get this response.
This kind of response, yeah.
You get this kind of response.
Finally, we see the woman who told the police the frauditor had a gun get a proper dressing down from the police, followed by an appropriate piece of commentary from Audit the Audit.
Okay. So find out what female inside your guys' business called us here for this kind of response. Right now, so we'll go inside and find out.
Go ahead.
This is ridiculous. Who called the police and said someone had a gun?
I called the police and said it looked like he had something that looked like
Okay, well, we need you to come outside and talk to us.
Okay.
Because everyone out here saying that nobody said he had a gun, and that's a very serious accusation.
I know. It looked like he had a gun in his back pocket. That's why I was terrified when I called.
Man, my problem too with this whole situation is if you're the one calling is why are you hanging up on our call takers?
I was coming out here to see what was going on.
Okay, ma'am, you cannot generate a response like that and hang up on our call takers. It's so far from okay. It's just ridiculous. If you were that scared, why would you keep coming back outside?
I didn't come outside. I came to the door to watch what was going on.
You stay on the phone with our call takers if you call 911.
One of the officers reprimands the employee who called 911 for her actions, but does not arrest her for any criminal offenses, despite the fact that he may have had arguable probable cause to do so. Section 148.3 of the California Penal Code makes it a misdemeanor offense for an individual to report an emergency to the government if they know that the report is false, and a felony offense to report a false emergency if they know or should know that the response to the report is likely to cause death or great bodily injury, and great bodily injury or death is sustained by any person as a result of the false report. The statute includes in the definition of an emergency as, quote, any condition that results in the response of a public official in an authorized emergency vehicle, and also states that for, quote, any individual convicted of violating this section, based upon a report that resulted in an emergency response, is liable to a public agency for the reasonable costs of the emergency response by that public agency. Further, falsely claiming that Mr. Slow had a gun could also be a violation of Section 148.5 of the California Penal Code, which makes it a misdemeanor offense for an individual to report to a 911 operator that a felony or misdemeanor has been committed if the caller knows the report is false.
Besides being the most viewed video this week, the original footage has been making the rounds pretty heavily, as there's no way to make any real argument that it was okay for the lady who called the cops to make it seem like it was a truly dangerous situation. Absolutely. This is exactly the kind of thing that just throws fuel to the fire of the frauditor movement and sets our movement back, way back. Also, unlike Lackluster with his foreboding music and obviously pro-frauditor biased commentary, Audit the Audit always, at the very least, quotes legitimately applicable laws and court cases. I may not always agree with his opinions, but his use of fact is always spot on. Still, I can't help but see this entire video as an overall negative. As I mentioned before, the actions of the business, the people in the business, make it impossible to justify their behavior. And it's a black eye to our side. And I can't get past the idea that auditing a private business in and of itself, well, frankly, it's one of my pet peeves. I want so bad to attack the frauditor for being there in the first place. Obviously, they always have the end goal in mind of causing a police interaction. But making it sound like it was a gunman causes the cops to show up on high alert and could have caused the situation to end much, much worse. One aspect of the video that I actually do enjoy and see as a positive is the police did a fantastic job handling the situation. It's just a shame it had to be for the frauditor. But I like the commentary from Audit the Audit. I like the way the police are painted in a positive light. Well, I agree about the commentary being spot on and the positive portrayal of the police being refreshing. Still, overall, I found this video to be way too much of a detriment to the anti-frauditing community to recommend it. Thumbs down. I'll tell you what, I find this to be a fantastic video. And in fact, I think this is the best one we've covered. Not just this week, but at all. I give this big thumbs way up. So in conclusion, that's 2 thumbs down for Cops Get Owned by Corporal and the Citizen. This man meant business what happened for being simple, pointless attempt at cop baiting. 2 thumbs down also for Tyrant Lieutenant and Sergeant try to threaten journalist who knows his rights. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, as it is quite tedious watching Long Island Audit try to paint a non-event as a major civil rights violation, grasping at straws for content. We're split on rude deputies go hands-on lawsuit incoming, with Allen giving it a thumbs up, believing it to be all-encompassing, perfect example of how frauditors work, while I give it a thumbs down, seeing it as nothing more than a pro-frauditor propaganda. And finally, we're also split on Cops Defense Citizen from False 911 Caller, with Allen giving it a thumbs up for its refreshingly positive portrayal of the police and Audit the Audit's excellent commentary, while I give it a thumbs down, feeling that it only acts as a conduit to strengthen the resolve of the frauditor movement. Thank you guys for joining us again this week. Thank you guys for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss any future episodes of reviewing popular frauditor videos. I'm Hezekiah Jenkins, and I'll see you next time.
you.